The Democratic Party is overly controlled by the unions and by the trial lawyers, particularly the class action lawyers. And generally, if you'll see something that is not in the interest of the people, on the Democrat side, it's going to come because of the unions, which is just another form of monopoly, and the trial lawyers. That's where actions will be happening from the Democrat side. They're not in the interest of the people.
Ford is investing $11 billion in electric vehicles, creating 11,000 jobs across the country. GM is making the largest investment in its history, $7 billion to build electric vehicles, creating 4,000 jobs in Michigan. All told, 369,000 new manufacturing jobs were created in America last year alone.
Okay, my friends, let's take a closer look together. Welcome to Veracity. I'm your host, Michael Lewis. Biden's comments have resulted in another controversy after he praised union auto workers last year for leading the EV revolution instead of Elon Musk's Tesla that is responsible for producing 2/3 of the electric vehicles in America. The statement was made at a September 2021 EV summit where Biden praised General Motors and its president, Bara, for leading the EV revolution, despite being aware of the fact that General Motors produced only 26 electric vehicles in that quarter. Furthermore, in that summit, Tesla CEO Elon Musk was not allowed to come. So why would the Biden administration invite and praise a company that is still on the developing stage of creating electric vehicles, and not even invite Elon Musk to the event that has easily managed to deliver around 308,000 Tesla vehicles in the same quarter?
Tesla CEO Elon Musk still upset with President Biden this week, pointing out the president didn't mention Tesla in his State of the Union speech. This after Biden last summer hosted an electric vehicle summit at the White House and didn't invite Tesla. So should the president invite Musk to the White House?
Well, according to Elon Musk's recent post, the richest man in the world has discovered that there are certain elite unions in the country that control the Democratic Party and its policies that ultimately govern us. So indirectly, it is not the Democratic Party that runs the government. It is the elite unions, like union auto workers, that actually runs the country through the Democratic Party. Here's exactly what Elon had to say. The general public is not aware of the degree to which unions control the Democratic Party. One does not need to speculate at this point. So deliberately excluding us from the EV summit at the White House, but including UAWs, tells you everything you need to know. They have so much power over the White House that they can exclude Tesla from an EV summit. That's some next level insanity.
I pay $175 to fill up this car.
That was half a tank. A little more than $64 for half a tank.
So one gas station in Minnesota is trying to find some humor in the situation.
Try to show empathy to your customers when a little Toyota Corolla gets fuel and it's $80. You kind of, know how much it hits home to people.
Today, gas hit a new high, $5 a gallon on average nationally. And new data shows inflation is the worst it's been since 1981, up 8.6% since this time last year. That translates to families paying an extra $460 a month for everyday items. For so many Americans, that's money they simply do not have.
A couple of weeks back, Biden praised the rise in fuel prices as an incredible transition from fossil fuels to sustainable energy. And a few months back, he also canceled oil leases in Alaska. And we cannot, and we must not forget the cancellation of the $9 billion Keystone Pipeline project that could have easily brought down the fuel prices with an increased amount of production. However, instead of understanding the potential of American oil companies to bring down the prices, Biden not only begged American enemies like Venezuela to fill the oil gap, but also blamed American oil companies in his June 14th letter for increasing the fuel prices for their own profit. Responding to Biden's letter, the American Petroleum Institute and the American Fuel and Petroleum Manufacturers stated that the U.S. refineries are currently operating at 94% capacity, among the highest utilization rate around the world, and that prices for oil products are set on a world market based on global supply and demand, not American companies. So as Biden continues to blame American oil companies and the Russia-Ukraine war for the increased gas prices, what we all need to remember is what Biden told us back in September of 2019 when he made this campaign pledge. I guarantee you we are going to end fossil fuel. Keeping this pledge in mind, it is of no surprise when Kathleen Skama, president of the Western Energy Alliance, says that around 5,900 development leases and 3,000 permits for fossil fuel productions are currently being detained by environmental litigation. And on March 21st, the SEC directed all companies to submit a complete report with respect to their greenhouse gas emissions and also the report of their suppliers. So when the Biden administration is making it extremely difficult for the oil companies to produce more and is constantly pushing on his pledge to eradicate the use of fossil fuels completely, what kind of motivation will it give to the oil companies or their investors? Here is what Mike Wirth, the CEO of Chevron, had to say.
Puts the industry in a difficult spot because building a refinery is a multi-billion-dollar investment. It may take a decade. We haven't had a refinery built in the United States since the 1970s. My personal view is there will never be another refinery built in the United States.
Mike also said, we have seen refineries closed. We have seen refineries being repurposed to become biorefineries. And we live in a world where the stated policy of the U.S. government is to reduce demand for the products that refineries produce. The same is also pressed by Daniel Turner, the executive director of Power of the Future, when he said that the Biden administration is intentionally increasing the fuel prices to force people to shift towards electric cars. But how would people shift towards electric vehicles when there isn't sufficient infrastructure for the same?
He has implemented a myriad regulations, punishment of the investors in the fossil fuel industry. Land access has been denied, right? So this is a cause and effect. He put in lots of different causes. He doesn't want to deal with the effect. But going to Saudi Arabia is interesting because it does acknowledge that we need a supply increase, right? He recognizes that the only way to lower prices is to increase the amount of oil in the global market. But why do the Saudis get to drill more for $120 a barrel and not Alaska or New Mexico or America? You'll see he never says anything about increasing American production. He'll say things like, I'm going to lower gas prices, or I'm going to, but he never once talks about increasing oil production in America because the Greens won't allow him to do that.
However, by ignoring its own country's potential, Biden has already planned a trip to Saudi Arabia to beg for more oil in a sophisticated manner.
There's a little known fact about some of the most common drugs Americans take, from antibiotics to heart medicine to antidepressants. 80% of the key ingredients used to make them come from overseas, mainly from China. In March, a prominent Chinese economist suggested his country's control of the market could be used to send a message. If exports are reduced, he said, the medical systems of some Western countries will not run well.
We're so dependent on China that if they shut the door on sending medicines to us, our hospitals would shut down within a couple of months.
With its ultimate objective to surround the United States from all angles, the Chinese Communist Party is now on the verge of controlling 90% of the supply of pharmaceutical ingredients to America. The fact has raised great concerns in the eyes of Representative Diana Harshbarger, who recently argued that Communist China now dominates the supply of credible pharmaceutical ingredients like precursor chemicals, antibiotics, and vitamins, through which it can easily manipulate American citizens on the basis of its supply. She said, when coronavirus reared its head, what was China able to do? They were able to shut manufacturing down, and that affected the supply chains. The same is also argued by Senator Tom Cotton and Mike Gallagher, when they said that a Chinese Communist Party propaganda outlet insinuated that Beijing could cut off supplies of life-saving medicine to the United States at any time, dooming our country to sink into the hell of the novel coronavirus epidemic. However, to ensure CCP doesn't reach that far, Harshbarger stressed that the United States should now provide incentives to American companies so that they manufacture enough supply of active pharmaceutical ingredients, also known as APIs, for the country and its citizens. Furthermore, Representative Mike Gallagher has also introduced legislation called Protecting Our Pharmaceutical Supply Chain from China Act of 2022, which aims to require the Secretary of Health and Human Services to maintain a list of the country of origin of all drugs marked in the United States, to ban the use of federal funds for the purchase of drugs manufactured in the People's Republic of China and for other purposes. In the end, Harshbarger said, "It is time for America to undo the damage that's been done and become the world's dominant leader in APIs."
For years, the Chinese app TikTok has responded to data privacy concerns by asserting that information gathered about United States users is stored in the United States and not in China, where the video platform's parent company ByteDance is located. However, newly leaked audio hints at something else. It alleges that audio clips from more than 80 TikTok meetings have been accessed by China-based employees of ByteDance.
With the United States as its largest market, the CCP-owned TikTok has now become a perfect tool to steal the private data of the US. TikTok can be used to destroy civilization in whatever way they want. Elon Musk recently tweeted, "Is TikTok destroying civilizations?" after he came across a leaked audio of TikTok employees who had access to the private data of the US TikTok users for almost 4 months. According to the leaked audio by BuzzFeed regarding the internal meetings of the TikTok employees in Beijing, they constantly access the non-public data of the US TikTok users without their consent. Furthermore, the recording of the 9 employees also confirmed that they used this data of the US TikTok users from September 2021 to January 2022. Now, it is surprising to notice that its Beijing-based parent company, ByteDance, has previously claimed that it does not share the US user data with the CCP and has the most qualified US-based cybersecurity team that makes sure it does not happen. However, according to BuzzFeed, the US team did not even have the permission or knowledge of how to access the non-consensual data on their own. And when the BuzzFeed report came out, TikTok immediately announced that it would be completing the process of transferring the data of the American TikTok users with the US-based servers at Oracle to comply with US regulatory concerns. But one might wonder why TikTok decided to transfer all this sensitive data to Oracle after a leak call of their employees got into the hands of the public. Why not before that? And were they waiting to be caught red-handed? Well, there's a lot more to TikTok than we can imagine. Now stay safe and take charge of your precious data.
Liberal one-party rule in Washington is destroying America, and our economy and way of life are suffering.
Jen Kiggins, nurse practitioner, Navy helicopter pilot, conservative state senator.
I passed crucial election integrity legislation to ensure the accuracy of our voter rolls and protected our kids from transgender policies and CRT, because school should be about education, not indoctrination. I'm Jen Kiggins, and I approve this message because it's time to restore America's strength and conservative values.
In the June 21st Republican primary, the candidates for Virginia's 2nd Congressional District on the GOP ballot are not just candidates with a low voice that fails to grab attention. They are from the Navy and Air Force. These military vets have made the Democrats insecure as they've entered into the race. Surprisingly, Virginia's 2nd Congressional District comprises one of the most densely populated military retirees and around 82,000 active duty sailors. So you can imagine why not 1, but 4 military veterans are running for the GOP primary. Furthermore, the heat towards the primary has already been charged with the first candidate, Jerome Bell, a retired chief petty officer with 27 years of experience in the Navy. Jerome had this to say: "Chiefs run the Navy. We need chiefs to run the Congress." The rest of these candidates include Senator Jen Kiggins, a former Navy helicopter pilot and geriatric nurse, Tommy Altman, U.S. Air Force Special Operations, Iraq and Afghanistan veteran, and Andy Bond, a retired Navy captain who has proudly been rewarded a Bronze Star in Iraq. Now, after watching these candidates with their staggering backgrounds, the voters are already considering picking them all at once. But as per the rules, only one can win the race. Regarding fundraising, campaign spending, and media exposure, Kiggins is a clear frontrunner. Moreover, the chance of Kiggins winning the primary increased further after the CD2 voters openly shared their main issues with her. Kiggins said, "It's the economy, and the economy that is the number one issue. Virginians are all frustrated, as all Americans are, with gas, grocery prices all at all-time highs, and the economy in shambles. It is time to put conservative Republicans back in charge. The winner will face Democrat Elaine Luria in the November general elections. I'd like to thank you all for spending time with me. And don't forget to check this video out right up here and join me tomorrow where we will discuss more truths happening in America. Have a good night, and I'll see you next time.